The story begins as an ugly boy who gets abused by his own father for looking like an evil cockroach can only apologize to his drunken father for not living up to his expectations, and his mother sits nearby without caring. This is a dream from the past of our main character named Tōka Mimori, and he wakes up to find his class president getting teased. The bully is Oyamata, and he refuses to give class president Ayaka her book back. Oyamata teases her more about reading some of the romance novel to everyone, and all the other students just ignore the bullying. The class is on a field trip, and Tōka can't help but notice how all his classmates are just keeping their heads down to ignore the bullying, while the class elites laugh away. The teacher, meanwhile, doesn't really care about anything and just sleeps the entire time. Tōka thinks he might look pretty cool if he intervened, but he remembers that he's just a nobody and he wouldn't accomplish anything. Ayaka eventually gets really frustrated, so Tōka surprisingly stands up to Oyamata and tells him to give Ayaka her book back. Oyamata is impressed that Tōka finally standing up for something, but he still refuses to give the book back, and now he wants to pick on Tōka as well. Just then, one of the elites named Takuto Kirihara tells Oyamata to stop messing around because he is repulsed by all the arguing. Everyone thinks Takuto is really cool for taking command of the situation, and Oyamata apologizes to Ayaka. Oyamata is still annoyed about Tōka standing up to him, so he starts picking on the quiet kid in class. Finally, the teacher tells him to stop and explains that Oyamata can bully people when he's not the teacher. Tōka actually agrees with all Oyamata because standing up like that is unlike at all, and he assumes that he only took action because of the dream he had. Just then, all the students are shocked as they are teleported to a strange place. Some lady calls them heroes from another world and introduces herself as a goddess named Vicious. She explains that in her world, whenever the Great Demon Empire appears, they summon heroes from another world. The Demon Empire was defeated by heroes 200 years ago, but the terrifying evil has just resurfaced. These students are heroes to her, so she asked them to lend her their power. The students don't believe that they have been transported to a different world and just assume that they are dreaming. They start to think that it's just a prank, or even worse, they may have all lost their lives in a car crash. Everyone begins to panic, but the teacher tries to calm them down by pointing out that he is there. He is useless though, and just says that they should listen to the goddess. Tōka takes a look around at all the old stuff, and that coupled with the golden-eyed goddess makes him believe that there really are in some other world. Takuto wonders what will happen if they don't agree to fight the Demon Empire, so the goddess reveals that they won't be able to return to their world. The only way to do the reverse summoning ritual is by using a special element known as a Demon King's essence, and there are only two known ways to obtain it. One is by obtaining the heart of the Demon King, and the other is by collecting the Demon King's essence that is released upon the defeat of the Demon King and putting it into the crystal in a necklace. Oyamata gets annoyed about being forced to fight the Demon Empire, but the goddess begs for their help as they are the heroes of salvation. Ayaka points out that they are just normal humans and pretty far from being heroes. The goddess assures them that they have power that the others do not possess, but Tōka can't help but think that something isn't right. Oyamata's sick of the prank already, and Tōka realizes that the goddess is what is upsetting him. Just then, the students are horrified when a prisoner is brought out to be eaten by a monster. The goddess eviscerates the monster with a fire spell, but the students are still in denial and just want to believe that her attack was CGI. The goddess changes the subject and declares that it's time to reveal the hidden skills of all the students. All the students take turns touching a crystal ball, and when it lights up, it means that they have a special ability. The summoners are shocked when Oyamata's lights grows brightly, and it means that he is an incredible power. Oyamata changes his mind on the entire situation, and now things are being a hero sounds great. Takuto up next, and the sorcerers can't believe what they see when his power shatters the crystal ball. This means that he is an S rank, which is the ultimate rank. Oyamata is an A rank, so he points out how Takuto is better than everyone no matter what world they are in. Ayaka an S rank here as well, and the goddess is shocked when they find that there is a third S rank among the heroes. Normally they are lucky to just get one, so she declares that this is the best summoning ever. Tōka is next, and he doesn't know what it means when he makes the crystal glow purple. He also notices that his glow is the weakest side of everyone's. Tōka wants to know what rank he is, but the goddess just ignores him. Tōka realizes that he's a no one again, just like in his old world, and he decides that he's fine with it. Just then, the quiet kid in the class makes the crystal glow with a black color. The goddess explains that this has only happened once before when the dark hero touched the crystal, and he ended up being one of the strongest A-rank heroes of all. The quiet kid laughs like a maniac and declares that he knew his time would come soon. Afterwards, the goddess shows everyone how to check their stats. Tōka notices that his stats seem pretty low, and he has a unique skill called Abnormal States Endowment. Unique skills can only be used by the individual that has them, and the heroes can awaken more later. Oyamata gets tired of the explaining and he wants to start doing hero stuff. The teacher tells them to be more respectful to the goddess, but Oyamata tells them to quiet down because the teacher's only a D-rank hero. The goddess then declares that there's only one ritual left to do, and she shockingly calls a Tōka to step forward. Tōka has no clue why, so the goddess explains that he's the lowest rank of all the heroes that have been summoned and he is an E-rank. Past experiences taught to summoners that the weakest hero always holds back the others. Because of this, they decided to start getting rid of the weakest hero every time they did a summoning. Eventually, though, this started scaring the other heroes, so the summoners decided to do something different instead. They decided to grant even the lowest-ranked hero one chance to survive. They put them to the test by teleporting the weakest hero to some ruins. If they survive and reach the surface and they are allowed to live freely, Tōka wonders how dangerous the ruins are, but no one really knows. They have sent countless criminals and heroes to the ruins, but none have returned. These ruins are called the Ruins of Disposal. Tōka tries to get out of it by explaining that he has a unique skill, but the goddess explains that stats endowment skills like his are pretty useless. They have a low success rate, and even when they work they don't do much and their duration is too short. The goddess points out that his stats are also really low, and even if he levels up, they want to improve much. Tōka defends himself by pointing out how unfair it is to have been summoned only to be punished, but Takuto tells him to just go already. All the others tell them to hurry up as well, but Tōka feels a bit better when the kid named Yasu wonders if he is okay. Yasu is the quiet kid in class, and he was always kind to Tōka. Things have changed though, so Yasu reminds Tōka that he is the lowest rank. Yasu refuses to talk to such a low rank, and he calls Tōka Mr. Trash Hero. Tōka couldn't feel any worse, and the goddess begins the ritual. Every hero was granted a unique item when they are summoned, but Tōka is some pathetic-looking leather bag. The gem on the bag you grow when magic is poured into it, but that's all it does. Just then Ayaka surprisingly stands up for Tōka, but the goddess makes her pay by knocking her out. The goddess tells everyone to forget Tōka because he is a goner. She considers the heroes to all be winners, and she tells them to watch the tragic fate that awaits losers like Tōka. Tōka finally shows some determination as he becomes furious and uses a parallelization spell on the goddess. It doesn't work though. When she reveals that as a goddess she has a dispelled barrier active constantly, it provides total defense against status endowment spells. She bids farewell to the trash hero, but everyone is stunned when Takuto uses an attack spell. He apologizes though because he was just testing it out. The ritual continues and everyone is just glad that their time won't be wasted anymore. The goddess wonders Tōka has any last words, but he just begins to cry. Just then we see Tōka talking to his younger self. He is sobbing and his other self tells them that no matter how much he represses it and pretends to be a harmless person, he won't be able to hide his true self forever. He tells himself to show everyone his true colors and to show them the true self that he has been suppressing the entire time. Tōka's true self is finally revealed when he ditches his weak persona and he starts cursing at the goddess. Everyone is shocked and Tōka declared that if he makes a Beck alive, they all better be ready for him. Tōka's teleported to the ruins, but it's pitch black, so he pours magic into the gem and begins exploring. Just then Tōka barely manages to dodge an attack from a monster and he runs for his life. Tōka shivers as he runs because he can tell that the gap in power between him and this monster is huge. Tōka is terrified and he tries to hide the glowing gem because he thinks that's what's attracting the beast. As he runs, Tōka realizes that he isn't actually afraid. The emotion he is feeling is frustration. He has no weapons and all his stats are garbage. His skill is also useless, so Tōka determines that this is where his life ends. However, out of nowhere Tōka finds some determination. He declares that he wants power and uses a paralyze spell to stop the terrifying monster right in its tracks. The surprised Tōka runs for his life and thinks about how the goddess said that stats endowment skill rarely worked. Tōka wonders if it was a miracle, but his attention quickly turns to the new monster in front of him. Tōka can feel its hostility and it's overwhelming. Tōka wants to live though, and he surprises himself when his paralyzed skill works again. This makes him realize that using his skill the first time wasn't just a miracle, and he begins to wonder if his ability is something completely different from the magic in this world. Tōka all out of the boost the heroes were given, and he barely has any of his own magic power left. He fears that it won't be enough to use his skill, but he's surprised when he's able to cast a poison spell on the monster. His success rate seems to be really high, and it doesn't even look like the monster's rank matters. The duration seems to be pretty long as well, and Tōka tells the monster not to be upset with him because he was trying to take his life too. Tōka completely out of magic power now, so he wonders what will happen if he tries to use his stats endowment skill again. Just then the monster from before reappears and Tōka wonders if someone will show up to rescue him like in the movies. However, he thinks about how everyone treated him so poorly earlier and he remembers how he was beaten as a child. Tōka's years of frustration reach its peak and he realizes that he's just a background character, so no one is coming to rescue him. Tōka knows that he can't rely on others, so his only option is to fight to survive. Tōka's inner self wants to conquer everything, so he declares that his fight for survival starts now. And with that, we have come to the end of this part. Stay tuned for next part. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate the notification bell to receive all the latest updates.